Understanding Midlife Crisis by Aion Farvahar. Your life is not about your experiences, but about the person that is experiencing them. That person is you, and midlife crisis creates an opportunity for you to get to know that person. Hi, this is Aion Farvahar. I'm glad you're here. This channel is about self-realization and honoring our life purpose and meaning. If you're interested in these topics, please subscribe to stay connected. Your support is the foundation of this channel and encourages me to create more content in the future. Today, we want to focus on midlife crisis. Midlife crisis is a period in life when the value of everything that has given your life a sense of meaning and direction fades away. These could be your education, your profession, your family and social circle, or anything else that has given a sense of meaning to your life. In many ways, the experience of midlife crisis is similar to experience of the dark night of the soul. It is in this period that we start questioning what the point of our life actually was, and even doubting the decisions we made in the past, including the big decisions that set the main course of our life. Ironically, as depressing as it may sound, midlife crisis is an opportunity to pause, reflect, and focus on the person who has been experiencing this life, and through that notice a deeper and more authentic version of ourself, the version of ourself that is simply present and transcends the life itself, irrespective of what it has been. The purpose of this presentation is to help you understand midlife crisis, not seeing it as disintegration of your values or beliefs, but rather as a potentially life-affirming and transformative period in your life. More specifically, we explain the 4 phases of life and what makes midlife an opportunity for self-realization and personal transformation. Understanding the 4 phases of life. Our experience of life starts from our childhood and evolves in psychological, intellectual, and spiritual dimensions as we age. To notice this evolution, it would be useful here to view life in 4 phases. These phases are childhood and adolescence phase, early adulthood phase, midlife phase, and late adulthood phase. Let's briefly go over these phases and their associated life experiences. Childhood and adolescence phase. The first phase of life is the childhood and adolescence phase. In an ideal world, this phase is meant to be about playfulness, curiosity, and free expression of creativity. That is why children reject dullness and always look for opportunities to play, learn, imagine, and create. The childhood and adolescence phase of life is also when we are most vulnerable and dependent on adults for survival. This dependency makes our experience of life in this phase a constant struggle for finding a balance between our freedom to be authentic and express ourselves while operating within the boundaries of all the do's and don'ts set by our parents, caregivers, teachers, or our peer group. Because we are dependent on others to survive, we have to learn to adapt and accommodate. Our personality and how we view ourselves is formed and conditioned within this dynamic struggle to keep us safe and connected to those we rely on for their support, love, and protection. What happens in this phase of life has the most significant psychological impact on how we view ourselves later in life as adults, including whether we value and trust ourselves, believe in ourselves, or care about our aspirations. This phase is when our core personality is formed, making us the person we become as adults. Early adulthood phase. The early adulthood phase is about finding our place in this world as an adult. It is in this phase that we begin to spread our wings and have the chance to exercise our independence for the first time. It is the time to search and pursue what we want to do or value in life. As young adults, we usually have a hopeful and forward-looking view of life, as if everything that life can offer is still before us and yet to come. We get an education and learn skills toward the profession. We begin to accumulate personal possessions, maybe look for a life partner, and form a family. The prospects of an ideal future keep us alive and busy participating in societal rituals of life. We subconsciously want to fit in and experience all aspects of a normal life. It is easier to be optimistic about the future because all that life can offer still lies before us, and we only need to find a way to realize them. Together, the childhood, adolescence, and early adulthood phases claim the first half of our life. C.G. Jung referred to first half of life as the accommodation phase because we live life to meet a set of expectations and prevailing norms of our society or culture. We need to accommodate because we desire to be accepted, valued, and loved by others in order to survive and belong. Midlife phase. The midlife phase of life typically happens in our 30s, 40s, or 50s, but everyone experiences it differently. Midlife is not about our age, but about the way we reflect on life. We usually enter midlife when our ambitions or aspirations as young adults are either achieved, lost their attractiveness, or otherwise no longer deemed as realistic or feasible. This phase typically starts after we had experienced most of the societal rituals of life as young adults. For example, when we have had some accomplishments, had experienced love and companionship, earned social acceptance, and possibly experienced being a parent. When we enter midlife, further prospects of success or material possessions may no longer be as enticing as they once were. Likewise, midlife is when the societal norm and mundane rituals of adulthood may no longer feel as authentic or as meaningful and motivating as they used to be. Unfortunately, the midlife phase of life is also when we begin to experience emotional losses. For example, we may experience a divorce or separation, become empty nesters, lose a loved one, have an accident or an illness, lose our job or fail in business, and so on. These losses, along with the absence of any further prospects, can lead to the emergence of what is usually referred to as midlife crisis, a crisis which makes us question the very point of our life so far and its real meaning. Late adulthood phase. Late adulthood phase is usually about restoring the sense of value and meaning we may have lost during our midlife crisis. This phase usually goes in one of two ways. One way is to try to find a new sense of value and meaning outside of ourselves. For example, changing our job, our home, or finding new friends or a life partner. We may also engage in new adventures, for example, find new hobbies or travel to see new places. These activities may feel exciting and refreshing at first because they bring about new life experiences. But in most cases, the positive effect of these lifestyle changes gradually fades away. This happens because our new sense of value and meaning still relies on life experiences in the outside world and does not emerge from a deeper place within ourselves. The second way we can restore the sense of value and meaning is to search for it inside, and instead of engaging new life adventures, choose to pause and ask deeper questions about life itself. For example, wondering why we came to this life, or become curious about the person that is experiencing it. This usually calls us to withdraw from participating in mundane rituals of life, and instead start a deeper inquiry about our true nature and who we really are. We cannot find the ultimate point of our life without knowing who is experiencing it and why. The late adulthood phase, or the second half of life, is more important than the first half because we are less tangled in mundane rituals of life and have a chance to wonder about ourselves, who we are, and what we are meant to bring to this world. Midlife crisis as an opportunity for self-realization. As mentioned, first half of our life is adaptive, accommodative, and mostly consumed by instinctual, cultural, or societal rituals of life. The second half of life can either be a continuation of the first half or be otherwise a period of deeper self-realization and authentic expression of who we truly are. Midlife is a phase in between that helps make this transition from one half to the other. Midlife can be a dark and disorienting phase, like a dark night of the soul. But at the same time, it is an opportunity for reflections and self-inquiry. Only when the excitements and adventures of our young adulthood fade away, we get the chance to create space for deeper and more meaningful connections. Creating this space usually involves withdrawal from mundane rituals of life. For example, ending long-term relationships or taking a break from work and socializing. We need to create this space to make room for inner experiences, such as deeper contemplations on the true nature of life and more meaningful connections to ourselves and nature. We may also choose to live a simpler life and instead direct our life energy to deeper psychological and spiritual exploration of ourselves. C.G. Jung referred to this period of life as individuation, when we become open to self-inquiry and inner journeys, and through that build a deeper connection to our true nature and authentic individuality. Individuation is the process leading to realization and the most complete expression of our individuality. It is the most ideal and the ultimate goal of the second half of life. When you individuate, you become whole and reach a state of psychic immortality, because your consciousness is now liberated and no longer bounded to the world you experience around you. And such transformation will not be possible without going through a midlife crisis and its disorienting nature. In closing, remember that midlife crisis can be a life-affirming opportunity and a chance for new beginnings. It is essential and liberates us from the spell of our instinctual and societal impulses so we have a chance to reflect, introspect, and build a deeper and more meaningful connection to ourselves. What we discover in midlife crisis sets the direction of the rest of our life and should ideally be about the full realization and expression of our individuality through our presence, our imagination, and our creativity. Remember that life is not about what we do or don't do in this world, but rather about getting to know the person who is experiencing this life and why. If you have found this presentation useful, please like and share it with your like-minded friends. Please subscribe to my channel and share your thoughts and comments. For more information about myself and my life mentorship practice, please find my bio link in the description below. Blessings.